Hey guys, welcome back. We're doing a new car today. We're going to be stancing it, doing a little camber on this. This is the BMW M3 Wagon. I've picked basically the same stock wheels that Mattel put on here. They look nice. The white fits with the livery. So we're going to go with that one. I got a few new tools, a new mat, kind of a new little setup out here in the garage to make some of these videos for you guys and show you guys how to do some easy, kind of affordable DIY stuff, DIY custom Hot Wheels and everything. You know, I have my Hyper Tough Walmart Dremel. Got all my carbide bits down here, wheels for future projects. Got some new files to clean some of these bases up. Let's get into it. We'll set these wheels to the side. We will definitely won't be needing those yet. This has already been drilled out. This was already wheel swapped at one point, but a lot of people voted on slamming this one, so that's what we're gonna do. So this one's already drilled out. I use a 3/16 drill bit. And the way that I do it, I typically do it just enough to where it snaps back in, doesn't really fall back apart. The next thing I'll kind of be getting is some M2 screws, a tap and die set, so I can tap these rivets out here and put some screws in there to hold everything together. So, alright, let's see what we're working with here. So, let's zoom in a little bit here for you. Go a little bit more. There we go. So on this, unfortunately, the top of this, or the front side I should say, isn't a whole lot to drill out. But these little tabs right here on the inside, we are definitely going to drill out. Don't mind my mangled fingernail. But we're going to drill those out. Back, there's definitely some room. We're going to be tucking these wheels kind of right up in there, just a slight camber. Trying to get this thing to sit a little bit lower. So there's not a whole lot that's going to have to be dremeled out, but let's go ahead and get started on that. Get a few bodies. Unfortunately, these carbide tips, zoom in a little bit so you can see this, they will eat right through it. I mean, that's literally a second of bouncing off the car. Yeah. So, unfortunately, this one's got to be stripped and painted at some point, but, you know. Those look pretty good. Get some more of this tape out of here. Bigger drill bit, or carbide bit, I should say. I like to use these little round ones. I think I explained that in the last video, but these little round ones seem to work better than a lot of like the squared off tips or the pointed ones, simply because they fit the inner wells so well. They just, I don't know, they seem to work better getting into those little areas down there. So that's why I typically stick with these. You probably won't see me use much of the other ones. I always try to get the inside of the fronts here too, or the sides I should say. I always try to get those down because those will end up clipping the side of the wheel, and the wheel will get caught and everything. Kind of a pain in the butt, so usually easy to kind of knock those down there. It's a pretty thick side, so you have a lot of metal you can take out. So, all right, let's do the backs now. Went a little far in there, it's fine, nobody's ever gonna see it. Besides, I got paint, I can paint over it. But let's get the light on here. And that's about what you're working with. So, zoom out a little bit. All right, that was a magic trick. Clean the work mat off. Ah, now I'm getting stuff back all over the work mat. So I'm gonna take this tape off, not over my freshly cleaned work mat that I did a magic trick on. You can see all the metal shavings that tape caught. That's why I like using tape. Works a lot better. Zoom in a little bit here. So, as you can see from the outside, oh, that's all metal shavings. Oh, that scared me for a second. Man. Alright, as you can see, from the outside. Oh, not on camera. Nothing wrong with the car. And this is the inside. So, your little tabs are cut down, the little lips in the back are cut down. Everything's shaved down pretty nicely. But there are a few little spots here and there that I am going to go over with a smaller drill bit. And pray to God that it doesn't skip, because I don't have tape on these, so let's see what I can do. Abracadabra, look at that. Another magic trick. Y'all didn't know I was a magician. Now I got the small drill bit. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult. You guys might have to bear with me on this one. Sorry, this is a new camera setup, so trying to work here. Trying to get it to work. See if I can see this. Oh, that's my beard. Alright, let's get started. This is a little bit easier. The camera's kind of out of my way now. Alright. I think we're good to start kind of test fitting some parts, so give me a second. We will be right back. Voila, we are back with another clean work mat. If anybody wants to get one of these for themselves, I got this on Amazon as well. It's actually a pew cleaning mat. Down here it says HTM. It's the H203 model. It's 22 inches by 14. It's rubber mat. Seems to be working great for me so far. I love it. They're easy to wipe off. The metal shavings don't get stuck like how on my workbench they get stuck, which is very annoying. That is how I was doing it before. I was doing it right on the wood workbench and got a few splinters and metal shavings in places metal shavings shouldn't be. So we now have our drilled out car. Outside is still great looking. I gave it a wipe down. A few little metal shavings here and there. No problem. Alright, so what we do is we throw the window in. Drop that bad boy in there. We're going to take this interior. We're going to drop that in as well. Now, what you want to do is you'll take your new wheels, Ooh, fancy. And you're gonna lay them in there. And you're gonna kind of judge how much room you got in there. Now, mind you, these axles will be cut in half. But you can see they got quite a bit of room to extend out. Oh. Extend them all the way out. And then you can kind of visualize tucking them in right under that fender. But we're going to take a file this area down a little bit at a time, see if we can get them a little bit lower. And then we're going to do the same thing with the back. Now the back has a bit of a plastic issue, but it is fine because these windows are super dark and you can't even see in there anyways. So cutting the back right here, these little humps, we're going to cut those out. We don't need them. So zoom in on that for you. Now obviously I will take the file and probably sand some of this down and get it nice and neat looking, but just so you get the idea, now your wheel, when you go to tuck it, when you go to tilt it and camber it and lower it, you shouldn't have an issue with it hitting anything. So we're going to cut that little corner out as well. Outside of the car. No idea that it's there. So now we will test that wheel out again, make sure that there's definitely nothing, yeah, there is absolutely nothing now that can get in the way of that wheel being cambered. So, it should be fine. So I'm going to do that to the other side now. See, there is no way that your wheel will hit anything now when it is tucked in there. So, let's see how low we can go with these wheels. That is the big question. How low can you go? Alright. This is a new file. This is kind of a new method for me. I typically take the cutting wheel for the Dremel and I will cut down. But sometimes I end up with lopsided wheels, which obviously I can fix, but it's a pain in the butt having to shave one side and shave another. So we're going to try this file out and see if this is a better option. Alright, so we are about even, and we don't have a whole lot of clearance from the body of the car here to the bottom of this wheel. So if we go to tuck this, I mean, we will basically be right on the frame. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to get it to where you don't see the top of the tire, and you just have just enough tire sticking out that you can still roll. So that's all we're going to do. We take our paper clip. And what you do with the paper clip is, oh, maybe a little too much. There we go. So what you'll do is basically you'll leave a millimeter sticking out on one side, and then just to mark it, we'll leave a little bit sticking out on that side. You can see that mark there. So then, what I do is I'll stick it right here on the edge. Oh, you guys can't really see that. But basically just turn it on the razor blade, twist it, pull it, bop it, spin it, pulls right off. Now, we will throw this back in here really quick to see how much extra we have on each side. As you can see, there's a little bit extra on each side. Not a ton, but a little bit. So we'll cut tiny little bit off. A little bit off from each end because each end was a little bit mangled. And now we have pretty much a perfect fit. You guys can't see what I'm doing. Alright. So you want to make sure that it's not crooked like that. Make sure that's even. A little tiny bit sticking out on each side. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but drop a little bit of glue. Push that back over a little bit. Another drop of glue. Kind of get it centered. So this is Super Gel Gorilla Glue. Super Glue Gel, whatever. And this is what I've used on all the cars. It seems to work great for me. It dries fairly quickly. I don't know if you can see, but basically what I'm doing, a little dab on each side just to hold it in place. Oh, that was a big dab. Once it's in place, you can kind of throw a few more dabs on there, connect all the glue together. And you want to let that dry. So let's see if we can get just enough out of this for the bend. Nah. So what we'll do is we'll cut this down, unbend that. Take it right to where the bend starts. Cut this little section off. You don't need it. None of this is really usable, but I usually like to keep these in case I get excess glue on something. I can kind of use this as a little scraper because they're going to get thrown out eventually anyways. You can use wire cutters, wire snips, whatever you want. Try to find the halfway point. I usually never do. And you'll cut them. And yeah, clearly not the halfway point. But it doesn't matter because you're going to cut a few millimeters off of each one anyways. So not a huge deal. So we'll take the long one first. Try to get it to match up to the other one. Oh, I'm good. Alright, so these, what you'll do is you'll kind of just hold them over, push the wheels all the way in, and just see where are these going to hit in the middle. Now we want to keep these a little bit farther out because we're going to be tucking them in. So you don't need a bunch of space, basically. So there's definitely going to be room in the middle of these. Now we're going to bend them. So push your axle all the way in, hold it there, use the flat spot, hold it all the way up against, and then just push your wheel down to get a nice little bend. Yep, just like that. And then you should be able to see when you test fit it. Alright, we are ready to glue the wheels in, so we're going to start with the rear. So let's get some glue in the axles. Get some glue in there. Make sure that wheel is going to drop down. Perfect. Get some glue on the other side. Make sure this wheel's drop down. Perfect. Cut this base down a little bit so that it will fit over these axles. So how you do that, and that is the rear. Pretty much done. Sanded, smooth, flat. And it shouldn't get in the way. And it shouldn't get caught up on anything. But we'll see. Alright, let's do the back or the front side now. Now there shouldn't be anything in the way of this base when you snap it back onto the car. You just want to make sure that you don't sand down where the rivets go into. Obviously, if you create a bigger hole, you may not be able to get screws to fit in or it to snap back in when you put it together. So we are going to do a little magic trick now, and voila, we are back with a semi-clean workbench again. So now I might use these little humps on the axles are going to come off.
Don't act like you don't know me. I know you've seen it.
Zoom in a little bit. Everything looks pretty good, so Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're rolling. It's not, you know, the best, but I mean, for what I do, where I store my cars and everything. Oh, that wheel's got too much camber. You know, everything goes up on a shelf for me, so it rolling perfectly isn't necessarily a huge deal. It being screwed together is not a big deal for me. But, you know, a lot of people, they want to make sure that everything's factory. A lot of my cars are. This one was definitely a little bit harder to do. I think there's a few nuances with this casting that I wasn't entirely prepared to deal with. But that's part of customizing and working on a car that you've never really worked on before. But it's a fun one, I can't lie. It's definitely challenging, but the outcome is fantastic. There we go. Now that the wheels aren't scraping anymore, yeah, it's rolling good. So let's get a close look at it. Nice little all-around look. That is pretty much how you slam and camber a BMW wagon.